Tata is one of the big players in the CNG market in India. In fact, it was the first one to bring automatic with CNG and turbo petrol with CNG. In fact, it has everything with CNG power below the curve. And one of those significant models is this, the Altroz with CNG power. So what you're seeing is the facelift model, which we drove last year when it was launched. And today we have the CNG version with us, and we're going to tell you what the real world mileage is like. Prices for the CNG range start at Rs 7.22 lakh and top out at Rs 10.15 lakh for this top spec accomplished S variant that we have driven in the video. The only engine on offer for the Altroz CNG is Tata's 1.2 litre NA petrol, producing 72 bhp and 103 Nm in CNG mode and 86 bhp and 115 Nm in petrol mode. The only transmission on offer is Tata's 5-speed manual, and you get CNG power right from the base all the way to the accomplished S variant, but missing out on the top spec accomplished plus S trim. Switching between CNG and petrol can be done on the go, but there's no distance to empty reading when you switch the cluster to CNG mode. Introduced in 2023, the CNG tanks are now shaped in Tata's twin-cylinder design, where they have been split up and placed lower in the vehicle, giving you valuable boot space. The standard car offers you 345 litres of boot space, and here you get 210 litres. Finally, the petrol and CNG filling points originate from the same side, making it that one step simpler when you roll into the fuel bunk. Before we begin, here's a little reminder. Are you enjoying the content on this channel? Want to see more cars like the Altroz CNG? Then hit those like, share and subscribe buttons, and also that bell icon to be notified the instant we put out a new video. Before we tell you what the real world mileage is like and give you some driving impressions about this Altroz CNG, it's important for us to tell you how we do this test. Now we go to the pump, tank up this car, in this case with CNG, and then drive on a predefined route for a set number of kilometers. During the drive, we encounter real-world situations that one would experience normally in real life while driving every day. Once we've done the set number of kilometers, we go back to the pump, tank up the car once again. Number of kilometers driven by the amount of CNG consumed is your real-world mileage. Now during the test, we have the climate control system set to 23, and while this car doesn't have it, normally if the car has a stop-start system, we keep that on. Now, as a car to drive, this Altroz in the CNG, guys, will get you to where you want, get you from point A to point B, but lacks the power and torque. You can see it in the numbers itself. It's a slightly heavy car considering the CNG load in the back, but it will get you to where you want without much complaining. Now, you especially feel that lack of torque power, especially as you have to row between third and fourth gear. There is a larger amount concentrated in second gear, but you'll have to row a lot in third and fourth, especially at slightly higher city speeds, right? And if the car is fully loaded up, that means full CNG tank, full petrol tank, and 5 occupants in the car, you are going to feel the pinch. It is especially going to struggle if you're on an incline. Now coming to the steering doesn't offer much feel, but it does weigh up very nicely, and that's something that's crucial, especially when you're driving at higher speed. Now coming to highway, you feel the lack of torque and punch, especially when you need to get up to 3-digit speeds, and it's best that you build up speed, especially when you're overtaking larger objects like trucks or trailer lorries, and that should keep you in good stead. One of the things that Tata has managed to get right with this car, and generally it's pretty good at that, is ride quality, right? Even though this car is slightly on the heavier side for its size, it glides over everything without much difficulty, absorbs most bumps, potholes, settles quickly, something that's important for the occupants especially on really bad city roads. But with only 165 mm of ground clearance, you should treat the bigger potholes with a bit of caution. Those were our driving impressions of the Tata Altroz CNG. Do you have an Altroz CNG? Let us know what you think about the car and your driving impressions in the comment section below. Tata officially claims a mileage of 27.80 kilometers per kg for the CNG powered manual version, and that's the only powertrain option offered with this Altroz CNG. Now, when we do these tests in the real world, the numbers generally differ between what's claimed and what actually comes around. And that's exactly what happened here. So do stick around to the end to get the actual figures. We have driven the car for the requisite distance across both city and highway conditions, tanked it back up, and gotten the real-world mileage figures for this CNG powertrain. In city conditions, we got 19.83 km per kg after covering a distance of 79.3 km using 4 kgs of CNG. Out on the highway, we got 34.58 km per kg after traveling a distance of 91.3 km and using 2.64 kgs of CNG. Going by a calculation of a combination of 75% of city and 25% of highway, we got an average of 23.49 km per kg. This is lesser than the claim mileage, but in terms of running costs, works out to between 3.5 to 4 rupees per kilometer, which is pretty competitive. Let us sum up our experiences with this Altroz CNG, both in terms of usability and real-world mileage, and we're going to look at this in terms of pros and cons. Let's start with the pros. The mileage figure is not a segment-beating number, but is very much light on the pocket and is very much capable of helping you recover the acquisition costs in a shorter time frame as compared to a standard petrol powertrain. The second thing working in favor of this car is a feature list. Now, normally, when you buy a CNG car or when you bought a CNG powered car in the past, it was usually a lower spec model and didn't have many features, and there was a heavy emphasis on the CNG system due to cost. But Tata broke that mold. They said that when you're buying CNG, you should be able to enjoy the car completely. Now, this doesn't have a top of the line accomplished plus S trim, but there is an accomplished S trim, one below the top, and you get a lot of features on offer for something like this. It's priced at rupees 10.15 lakh, and there's a lot on offer, right? It breaks that mold of you don't have to buy bare bones if you're buying CNG. And the final pro working in favor of this car is boot space. Now, boot space is one of those things that normally takes a hit when you go in for a CNG car, but since 2023, when Tata introduced its twin-cylinder tech, there has been an improvement in boot space. You actually get a usable amount of space. You get 345 liters in the standard car. Here you get 210 liters. How does twin cylinder work? They split up the CNG cylinders and place them lower in the vehicle, liberating that all-important boot space. Now, working against the favor of this Altroz CNG are two factors. The first, that it lacks a certain amount of punch. Now, the powertrain, while extremely efficient, you've seen the real world number, and will eventually get you from point A to point B, needs a lot of work. You need to row through the gears a lot. And if you have a fully loaded CNG tank, fully loaded petrol tank, and 4 or 5 people sitting in the car, it is going to struggle on inclines. But for most of the people that would buy a CNG Altroz are going to be city buyers, urban buyers, and for them, the pace will be slow or minimal considering the kind of congestion we have in our cities. And the efficiency will play a much higher role in this. The second is the fact that it gets beige upholstery with gloss black plastic. Now, beige upholstery adds an airiness to the cabin. It's a light color. Gloss black plastics adds a quick dose of premiumness at a lower price. But these are things that get dirty quickly, especially in a dusty country like India. As you can see from our car, the car has not even done 10,000 kilometers and the interiors are already stained. And gloss black plastics are of course a dust magnet. Now, what we would suggest for the beige upholstery is to go in for seat covers. Tata has a significant number of them in its range, and you don't even have to go in for aftermarket. And if you're buying this car, especially in something like this, you might want to go in for seat covers straight away to preserve the life of your seats. What do you think of this Altroz CNG? Do you think there's something else that we should have done with it? Let us know in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.